Welcome back to RC 101 with the Taoist Flyer. RC helicopters have come a long way in the past decade, and the PowerStar X1 is a great example of just how far things have advanced. Flying RC helicopters has traditionally been a very expensive and dangerous hobby, and flying what's called a collective pitch helicopter is something that most serious RC helicopter pilots dream about, but simply couldn't afford to do until now. If you want to fly your helicopter upside down, then it needs to be able to generate both positive and negative pitch. That means that it can push air straight up and straight down. This is accomplished by tilting the spinning rotor blades up and down with a device called a swash plate. The bottom of the swash plate is connected to the servos, and the top of the swash plate spins and has push rods attached to it and the edge of the rotors. When the swash plate is moved up and down by the servos, it pushes the rods connected to it up and down, causing the rotors to tilt, generating thrust. If you pull the entire swash plate down, you generate positive pitch, and if you pull it all the way up, you generate negative pitch. The swash plate is also used to control forward, backwards, and left-right motion by tilting. If you tilt the swash plate to one side, it pulls the rotors down when they spin past that side, generating thrust on just that side. When they spin to the other side, they are pushed back up so that they don't generate as much thrust on that side. It's a very complex way of generating lift that traditionally meant spending thousands of dollars to build and maintain your helicopter, and a crash can end up costing you hundreds of dollars, if not more. But now, with modern technology and manufacturing techniques, you can experience the joy of 3D flight for less than $100. The PowerStar X1 from WL Toys is an amazing micro-collective pitch helicopter with a very precise swash plate and brushless motor capable of generating enough thrust for 3D flights and stunts. The brushless motor, the tail motor, the 3 micro servos, the speed controller, gyro, and other electronics are all powered by a single-cell 3.7 volt 450 milliamp battery with a 25C discharge rating. This means you're going to get a good 7 to 10 minutes worth of flight per charge, and you can easily switch out batteries for longer flight times and use any standard USB multi-port charger. The transmitter is also a wonderful piece of hardware. It feels good and sturdy in your hands, it only takes 4 AA batteries, and it's a fully functional 6-channel 2.4 GHz transmitter to boot. It has a throttle hold switch for safety and to stop the rotors if you crash. It also has an idle up switch and a 3D 6G button that you use to select between normal flight mode and 3D flight. It has dual rates and even the ability to switch the transmitter between modes 1, 2, 3, and 4 with a large switch in the middle that switches the throttle from the left stick to the right stick. It even changes which side has a spring and which side has the ratcheting. It's very rare for a transmitter to be so versatile at this price. The transmitter display easily lets you know which flight mode you're in, what transmitter layout you're using, and if the throttle hold is on or if the voltage is low. You also get a spare set of rotors, a spare tail blade, a screwdriver, a hex wrench, and a spare main gear. With a little flight experience, you should be able to get up and inverted in no time. When it comes to flying this aircraft or any collective pitch helicopter, it does take practice. Lots and lots of practice. If you're serious about flying RC helicopters, I strongly suggest getting a simulator and starting with a smaller helicopter like this. If you fly it over grass, you aren't going to do very much damage if and when you crash, and I found it to be very sturdy and crash resistant. You may need to replace your main gear after a bad crash, but that's easy and cheap to do, and otherwise you aren't going to break very much on this thing. When it comes to flight, I have to say that this thing is amazing. It's stable, it's smooth, and when you have the 6-axis gyro turned on, you can fly it indoors and around the house safely and easily. And when you want to go inverted, you just switch the gyro to 3D mode, idle up, and it's ready to go. It can actually do a few stunts right out of the box, and a skilled helicopter pilot will be very impressed with how precise and strong this little helicopter is. It can do tic-tocs, loops, flips, rolls, and even pyro flips in the hands of a skilled pilot. It's a lot safer than its larger cousins, and it's very easy to maintain and take apart. Without a flybar, there are less parts to damage, and the lightweight rotors don't cause much damage to themselves, the aircraft, or their surroundings during a crash. It felt so good the first time I saw it lift into the air. It was so smooth and so stable that it was obvious that we've entered a new age for RC helicopters. It's an age where you aren't worried about your tail motor burning out or your helicopter flying apart. It's an age where you can just go out and fly. So go check out the WL Toys PowerStar X1. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, keep flying, and I'll see you in the air.